You ask grandpappy a question. Come on, sit down.
Okay, why?
Ask him what you're curious. Ask him. He's right there.
Just so you know, never mind. Just, what's your favorite color?
Color.
That's very difficult because I guess I'd have to say I like most all colors, but maybe if I were to pick one, I would say the one that's most interesting is green, because I think there's more green shades than there is anything else.
I love green.
My turn? Just so you know.
Shades of green, or what I guess I would say interest me more than different shades of red or different shades of yellow. And
You have any other questions?
Yes. Just so you know, Grammy told me to say this, but anyway,
I did?
yes, you did. What is your favorite food?
Oh, food. She asked me today.
what's in front of me?
Dad, isn't it crab? It wouldn't be crab?
Crap, I like most foods, so it's very difficult to say.
That's a hard question for.
How many years have you had this house, and how many years have you lived here?
Oh,
How many what?
How many years have you
Years.
lived here and had this house for?
How many years have I lived here in this house?
Yeah.
Well, I lived here since 1990, and that would be 28 years, wouldn't it? 90, 110, 28, yeah. 28 years.
okay.
Wait, I have a question.
Sophia,
Grammy told me to say this one too, but all the rest are not going to be from her. But anyway, sorry.
I asked.
What's your favorite cook?
Oh,
I'm not sure that I understood.
favorite cook?
Record me.
Wait.
What do you mean, honey?
Grammy told me to say it, but
See what he says.
what's your favorite person that cooks for you?
His favorite cook, she
My
said.
favorite cook was my mother.
Yep. See, his mama. There's nobody that ever cooks better than your own mama.
That's right. Well, that's my favorite. If I had to pick a cook in all my life, I would say my mother was the best.
How about second?
My grandmother.
Your grandmother. Third. Third.
Me.
You! I knew you were going to put yourself in there. I know you so well.
Well,
And then
I mean, I must have learned something eating all those years.
you are a good, yeah.
Huh?
Fourth?
Fourth best cook?
You want me to? Pretty soon.
Fourth best cook?
Pretty soon you're going to be my best cook. No, I don't know. I never thought of it that way.
What was your fondest memory of your mom?
Oh,
Mom,
Is she still alive?
what'd you call her?
No,
Mom?
sweetie.
Mom?
Mother.
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 Or we called her mom too, yeah. What's my favorite memory?
Yeah, well, off the top of your head, one of the fondest memories.
Well, there's so
Why did
many,
she
but
die?
one that I always remember is when I was real little, probably before I was going to school, 4 or 5 or 6 years or younger than that maybe. I could remember her singing in the morning while she's cleaning and fixing the house. We had a radio or a what they call it then, a disc that you put on a recorder, on a phonograph.
Oh, yeah.
And she would listen to the music and kind of sing along while she's working. I remember one by specifically was by what's his name? Used to sing a lot of child songs.
Burl Lives?
Burl Ives, yeah, singing Rocky Mountain.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, it was kind of a hobo song. And in those days, we had a lot of hobos that used to stop at our house for free meal, and they'd offer to chop wood or wash windows or for breakfast or lunch or whatever we'd hand out. There was a constant flow of them coming through, and Mom would fix meals for them, and give them a little job to do around the house just to make them feel good, because they didn't want to be bums really. They just needed something to eat, and
Sure.
they felt better if they did some little chore.
Mm-hmm.
I
Frank-
can remember that probably more than anything when I was real little.
That's cool. Franklin, do you have a question you want to ask Grandpappy?
What's your favorite invention?
Oh, favorite invention. That's a good one.
You mean personally?
Sure.
Or the one that was the best we ever had?
Besides the wheel, Dad, besides the wheel.
Personally, I'm thinking.
Well, there was, you mean an invention that was made when I was,
In your lifetime? Is that what you mean,
Oh, yeah, in your
Franklin?
lifetime.
In your lifetime?
well, I don't know. I suppose there was a number of things, but it's kind of hard to say whether it was an invention at that time or not. But when I was a little guy, we didn't have electricity, and of course, electricity, when we did finally move in town, and we had found out there was electricity, that was an exciting thing,
Oh,
because
heck
then we
yeah.
could have a radio, and we had telephone, and we never had that out on the ranch. We did. I think our grandmother at her house, she had a phone, but you had to crank it for 5 minutes, and then you had to get somebody off the line if you wanted to make a call.
A party line.
And they got rid of those party lines, and that was whoever figured that out was
Brilliant.
a brilliant
Yeah.
addition. But there are so many things that happened that it's kind of hard to say what would be the best.
Okay. Okay.
Hi.
Oh, you're all questioned out.
I
You
have
are
one more
too?
question.
You do?
Well, actually, probably not one. I don't know. But what's your favorite drink?
My favorite what?
Drink?
Drink?
Hmm.
Well, that's also a tough one, because I'd have to say my favorite drink is probably water, but in the morning I like a good hot cup of coffee.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
And sometimes at night I like a nice warm glass of milk.
Warm milk helps
And
you
I
sleep.
suppose that would be different than what you would normally. You would have thought that I would have said a soda or milk.
No,
You know,
I
those
thought
are
for
way
sure.
down on my list.
I knew you'd say
Uh,
water. Water.
No, I never considered soda or beer, or like a lot of people would say, but
You're not into
those are
carbonation.
things you test, but you don't need them, and you don't. I guess my problem is the things I like best are the things that are most healthy for me.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why I just kind of stay away from things that aren't as healthy for you as an alternative that I could select.
Yeah.
And I don't go to any trouble in making it out. It's just over time you learn what's good for you and what's not good for you, and as you learn things aren't as good as something else, they seem to be less interesting. And well, like Lizzie and I, when we're alone here, we don't eat anything that isn't good for us.
Mm-hmm.
And we eat very little. We eat less than we ever did, and I think we're healthier than we ever were.
Mm-hmm.
Physically that way. Of course, I'm not healthy now because I got a good heart. I mean, my heart's good and
Yes, you
strong.
do.
Everything's strong. It's just the arthritis in my back is killing me.
Yeah, Grandpappy's back hurts.
Yeah, I got arthritis all the way up my back and on my thumbs. And
your shoulder.
if there wasn't, on my left shoulder, I have to raise this arm with this arm.
can't
Otherwise,
lift it.
I can't raise it. No strength there. But other than that, I'm good and healthy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Did you?
That comes with old age. No, everybody doesn't. It doesn't work that way with everybody. No,
That's true.
I think I know how I hurt my back, and that might be good for you and Franklin to remember. You know, I used to think I was real strong, and I tried to lift things that I shouldn't have been lifting. In fact, I lifted one thing, and I know exactly what it was, and you probably do too.
What?
Remember that floater that we got out there on the lake?
Yeah.
Well, when we got it, one of the pontoons was loaded with water.
Oh.
And the only way I could get the water out of it was to get that thing clear up on our deck.
Oh man.
And I pulled and I tugged and I
Oh, really?
That was
did
like
that,
a
and,
four-man
I really
job.
wrenched my back several times getting that thing up, and ever since then my back has been bad. And I think I probably pulled something out in my left shoulder here that the doctor said couldn't be replaced.
Yeah.
And it just repeatedly got better. As well as all I could say is just be careful.
Yeah. Don't
You're-
try to be
You're not
Superman.
you're not a robot.
Yeah, really. You're not Superman.
Even though you'd like to think it sometimes.
Mhm.
I have
Yeah.
a question. You don't have to.
Okay.
But okay, if you could go back into your youth and you're starting your career, what
Hmm.
what
Would it be?
what would it be? I mean, what would it?
If I was to start over, the
Yeah,
only
start over.
thing is, I probably would have. I did real good, incidentally. I'm very happy with my career. I couldn't have. I mean, I managed a $20 million business for over 30 years. I managed a sawmill, planing mill, everything. I was always manager of operation. I was never better than a manager, and the only reason for that is that I was a high school dropout, and in a corporation, you do not become a president or vice president of a company unless you have a education, a college education and a degree to support it. And that's the only reason I didn't get a job or progress to a higher level in our company. But I did real good, but I was lucky. I did a couple of things that I didn't realize when I was going to school, or even before I started school. You see, I was a salesman when I was 9 years old. I was the only salesman for Saturday Evening Post in the city of Fortuna, California. Every Saturday morning I'd sell Saturday Evening Post to all of the stores in Fortuna, the managers, and down the street. And every one of them were very anxious to teach me how to be a salesman. Nobody would buy from me until I'd sit down and listen to them tell me how to sell them. So listening to people, like I said, and learning to listen to people were very helpful for me. Plus the fact, when I was in high school, before I dropped out, I took typing. I flunked everything but typing.
Oh,
And math, of course. I always got A pluses in math. Yeah, I flunked English, or I didn't flunk English, I just didn't get good grades. I did get an F once, though.
Ooh.
Yeah, it was classical myths. I wouldn't read the book.
Oh, there's your book reading thing.
Well, I
again.
just read about these ancient people.
I know, I agree. It's like, who cares?
cares?
I agree.
But anyway, I got an F. But anyway, the thing that really helped me, and I didn't realize it at the time, I took typing in 9th grade, and I did real good. And of course, I didn't realize it until when I got out of the Army and I went to work at the Dover and Carson Lumber Company. After a few months they needed somebody in the office to do the payroll, because they did figure out that I was real good at mathematics and I could write nice. But the production manager had to make out a report every night to send to San Francisco to the president of the company. And he took hours, he'd be in there maybe an hour and a half or two making out these reports, because he was a one-finger puncher on
Oh.
the typewriter. And one night I was working that afternoon, and I said, why don't you just tell me what you want and I'll type it out for you. So we did it. We typed out his report in about 5 minutes, which took him about an hour
Oh my
every
gosh.
night. And so they gave me the job. They made a new job, assistant production manager, right off. Well, I didn't know a
Coolness.
single thing except at that time how to type. And how to make out payroll, or the payroll report for the accounting office for all of the. Well, we had 200 employees, so that was a pretty good sized job. But
Sorry.
well, I don't know.
It's like we just never know what skill will come in handy.
Sometimes you don't know what's gonna really give you a
Exactly.
little push. And then when our company sold out to another company, the people that bought Dover and Carson didn't know me from Adam. Is all they knew is I was assistant production manager. They didn't know I didn't know anything. So they just came in and they looked around. They said, well, the production manager retired, so they said, well, you were assistant, you'd be production manager. So immediately I was running the whole show.
Awesome.
And
God, you must have been proud of yourself.
no,
I would
half
be.
scared to death.
Well, and there's that.
Well, I knew I didn't know enough for the job, but they didn't know this. These were college people. See, they don't know people.
Yeah.
College people have a
Exactly.
problem.
Book smart, but they're not people
Well,
wise.
they got the degrees, but
Right.
I could tell you some.
That's what that's the same thing. Steve says the
That's what
same
I've seen.
thing.
Well, I'm not.
Yeah.
I'm not knocking going to college
Of
and getting
course.
degrees.
Well,
I'm just
nowadays
saying
you
that
have to, yeah.
They immediately come out of college and they think they know more about things and they don't know
And life
nothing when
experience,
they-
yeah.
but I could tell you some stories that will really make your hair stand.
Oh, Steve too. Yeah.
They made me that, and I became extremely popular almost immediately when they took over, because as soon as they made me manager, I said, well, every Saturday morning I wanted to have a meeting at the clubhouse with a different group of our people. So if you're familiar with a lumber mill in those days, we brought logs in by trucks and dropped them in the water in Humboldt Bay,
Oh, yeah.
and the guys in the pond shuffled the logs around the way we wanted them to, and then fed them up into the sawmill. Well, I said, we're going to have a Saturday morning meeting every morning for the next couple of months, and we're going to start out with the guys that receive the logs and dump them into the pond to the pond men. And the guys in the pond will tell the guys that are dumping them in how they could help them and vice versa. So I got to listen to it. I sit there and then I went to the next stage, and it took us about 3 months to go through, but this
Just
was
by
such
listening.
such an educational program. The whole state of California, well, it was in the California magazines all over the state, that what I was doing at the mill, and I immediately became very brilliant at educating a production group.
Just by getting out there
And
with.
I was
yeah.
doing it for me, because I didn't know what was going on.
Mhm.
All I knew was at that point, how to show a guy worked 8 hours a day, came in at 8 and left at 4 or 5. And,
That's so cool.
and so anyway, after a while, I had listened to everybody and, of course, asked them questions to keep the meeting going every Saturday morning. And they all thought I was brilliant. And
Yeah.
these people down in Los Angeles that made up this news. In fact, I think I have some copies of the newspaper clippings that they ran in those days about our meeting. But
That's so cool.
They did bother me once, and with something that I could have probably done a lot better.
Well,
They invited me to a meeting with them, and I never talked to a group before. They wanted me to explain how this was. I didn't make notes or bring in notes, and when I got all through, the media, the newspaper editors all gathered around me. Can I have your notes of the meeting and all that? I don't have
Oh
any
my
notes.
gosh. That's funny. Oh.